Welcome, everyone, to the Frequency of Love. I'm Adeline Jones, and my beautiful, delightful guest tonight is Ash Ruiz. Ash is a singer, a songwriter, and a performer. At the age of 14, he joined a Latin sensation band called Menudo. Is that how you pronounce it? Did I get that
Yes.
right?
Menudo, Menoodle, you know.
And we're going to get into the whole rest of what you've been doing, but now you are, as I have copied here, inspiring countless thousands of fans worldwide to live and celebrate the beautiful perfection of their authentic self.
Oh, I love hearing that from your golden-throated yumminess. Yes, that's what's appearing now.
So, I want to hear about your journey. I actually, before we get into your sort of personal journey and how you got from there to where you are now,
Yeah.
how would you describe your sort of view of the world and humanity today?
My view of the world and humanity today. Oh, it's so much
No,
fun as
that's
you
such
said
a
that.
little fair question, isn't it?
Oh, it's
In
so
3 sentences.
great.
No, I'm
It's
kidding.
so great. I just saw like myself kind of zoom in and out of the planet and all the different perspectives and ways from which it can be viewed. From all the way out here, it's just like this floating bindi of infinity. And as we get a little bit closer and a little bit closer, all the different sounds, I mean, the beauty of nature
Yeah.
and the poetry of a volcano and of the weather patterns uh, and then it's so fascinating. You have these beings on this soaring rock or this rock that's in this perpetual free fall, uh, like a puppy dog following the sun. And you have these beings on the planet that have believed the assumption that they are separate from the planet itself, that they are separate from each other, that they are a separate thing, alone, shivering on the wet rock in infinity, and coming up with all kinds of amazing tales and stories and interpretations of what is being filtered through the senses, of what is apparently seen and felt and touched, and how powerful that has been in our journey, in
Right.
this kind of dance of evolution, in our opening, in our I like to say I love our fascination with something coming outside of us, landing stories, whether it's a certain deity uh, or a galactic federation of light spaceship coming to the planet, because we're just kind of discovering our capacity in
Mm-hmm.
our own authentic way to finally be on this planet as
Right.
natural, open hearted human beings, to finally land. Because right now it appears that we're so caught up in our superimposed story of what reality is, all our ideas, our uninvestigated assumptions that we just continuously project without even knowing onto everything, everyone, every circumstance, every situation. And now there's the dawning of this kind of relaxed, open heart, this kind of relaxed intelligence that doesn't need to encase something, that doesn't need to capture some kind of interpret something or define something or describe something to be its kind of brilliant, available self. And in that, it's like, yay,
Yeah.
human beings that their feet are actually on the ground and taking full responsibility for their experience without blaming anyone else or pointing the finger. And in that openness, gosh, the possibilities of love and connection and harmony. In other words, the possibilities of seeing in a confident way what already is are
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes, it's really exciting. I think that we can fully realize our potential. And then who knows what happens after that? We'll
I
get to
know.
a potential and then some other potential can show
Ooh.
itself. It's like being on the edge of what humans maybe um, can finally do.
Mhm. I know. Yeah.
Do you
Really
ever
exciting.
feel like there was a reason that we've been in this, as I've heard it mentioned, like a collective trance, that there was a purpose for this, or this idea that we've been separate?
What comes to my heart when I hear that, is how much fun for infinity itself. It's like there is no separation anywhere.
Oh, to say,
How
"Hey,
much
let's try this."
how much fun for infinity, the totality of existence, to love itself in infinite ways, even like this,
Yeah.
to dive into even this option of existence. It's like infinity has a huge closet and loves a good drag performance. And planet Earth is quite the place for all kinds of pageantry and plumage.
Oh my
Furs and
gosh.
skins and
Well, so let me talk to you about your own sort of personal spiritual journey. I know that
yeah.
we all have, you know, you know, a meandering curve, and some things
Mhm.
stand out for us, and maybe a lot. But tell us maybe the first thing that you remember that sort of provoked you into a more of a spiritual um, outlook. You might tell the story that you told me the other day when you were 6 years old. But
Yeah, I'd say that was a really wonderful moment that kind of propelled me into noticing uh, something present that I wasn't really focused on before. But yeah, at 6 years old, my parents were getting a divorce, and when I see images of that appearing now, I was the most dramatic 6-year-old I could ever imagine.
what a surprise!
I was so I mean, I was really heartbroken. The divorce, it was a little dramatic, and, so my mother, she for her, the kindest thing to do, for everyone through the thought she had was to take us and run.
Yeah,
And, so we ended up in this new town, this new city. I was in a new school, and I was completely terrified and hypersensitive and didn't want anyone to see me or anyone to ask me what my name was, or I didn't want to tell I didn't want to tell, where I came. I was just like, don't look at me, I'm invisible. And I'm in the cafeteria, 6 years old, new school, holding the tray. I find the darkest corner in the room that I can kind of sit in and just kind of observe without anyone seeing me. And I did the normal things. I opened my frosted flakes. I opened the milk carton, poured the milk. I got my spork. As soon as I took a bite of these crunchy frosted flakes, it was the most thunderous sound I had ever heard. It was just, and I swore that everyone heard it in the cafeteria because I was so hypersensitive. It was just boom, the big bang right in my head. And with children, there's no such thing as imagination
yeah.
because it's like
Hmm.
everything is
Hmm.
imagination. I mean, time and space and schedules. Like, what is that? It's just like all of it's so kind of stirred together. And so for me, I instantly imagined everyone stopping what they were doing, freezing and staring at me. And then I imagined that they were listening to my crunching, to my chewing, in such an intense way that their ears flew off their heads. And so then I imagined all these ears flying around the room with little wings on them. And then I imagined that all these ears knew somehow that they had to rush to the center. And as soon as I imagined that and pictured them rushing to the center, they formed this one big ear. And the moment that I imagined this one big ear made up of all the ears in the cafeteria, there was this relaxed openness. I was no longer seeing through the filter of a 6-year-old little boy. There was just like this open knowing. And the way my 6-year-old mind kind of interpreted that was, wow, every ear makes God's ear. Every eye makes God's eye. Every
Yeah,
nose makes God's nose.
yeah.
Uh, as if everything was God, and we were the experience of that, the play of that. And the school bell rang, and it was kind of like, wow. And then my love affair for this presence that I would call the big ear, because
Really?
anytime that I felt something, I could always tap back into it, because I saw it as listening.
Mhm.
So when I would fall into listening, there was no end. and then listening was synonymous with silence. And so, kind of like my own meditation practice
Wow.
naturally started revealing itself with my love of music and listening. Yeah,
Did you feel a love of God for you at that moment too?
I did. Yeah, an immense love. Yeah, this like my body felt shimmery. That's how I remember it. Like if I was just made out of glitter and sparkles and just kind of this really sweet vibration. And and it was
Nice.
really sweet, and then it was fun to be able to tap into that. I loved Motown, and I loved uh, Stevie Wonder and Aretha Franklin as a little boy. And my favorite album was Aretha Franklin's gospel album. You know, I was a little blonde-headed, bowl-cut boy that was singing all of Aretha's songs from her gospel album. And there was a love affair with I guess. As a choir director once told me, being an instrument of praise. Mhm.
Mm. How did you just come upon singing naturally? You just started singing and these songs resonated with you? That
Yeah,
I mean, it's
it's
pretty
like
sophisticated for a 6-year-old.
it's so fascinating. My parents tell me that I was singing commercials um, before I started speaking, that I was singing. I loved music. I loved melody. Anytime music came on, I would light up uh and so, yeah, and then it was just really natural. My parents played all kinds of music growing up. My mother loved all the Pink Floyd stuff and Carly Simon and the Beatles and the Mamas and the Papas, and my dad loved all the Motown stuff and then the Afro-Cuban stuff, and so it was great having those ingredients around, and then I just gravitated towards a lot of the melismatic singing, a lot of the, extending the notes and just the embellishments and the growls and the runs and the yeah, it was fun.
How did you go from, singing in the choir to this, teenage sensation, this band that was wait, let me see what I have. The most popular Latin American teen musical group of the era.
Yeah. Wow, it was I sang in the church
Menudo, right? Yeah.
Menudo, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
I sang in the church from, like, 6 to 7.5, 8. That was really powerful, and, life, we moved in different places. We lived in Texas and Georgia. We came back to Miami, and I was at school one day, and, someone came up to me and said, "Would if I would like to audition for Menudo?" And they contacted my principal, who then contacted my parents. And then all I know is my choir director, I was in choir in school. She was helping me prepare for my audition. And my favorite song at that time was Imagine from John Lennon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I sang Imagine at my audition and I danced to Delight's The Groove is in the Heart. So yeah. And they enjoyed it. And I was a part of that group for about 5.5 years, from 14 to 20.
That's amazing. So I was saying, wouldn't it be nice if we started out with you singing a song and we talked about a couple, but do you wanna sing Imagine?
Oh, sure. I
Or
love
would you
it.
rather do one that you've written? You've written some beautiful ones too, but I mean
Okay. Oh, that's so much fun. Well, what's coming to me is a song called What If
okay.
that came through in a dream I had. I had this dream that I was at a concert, a huge concert, kind of like the kind of concerts we would do when I was in Menudo, stadium concerts, and everyone was wearing one garment. It was like there was just this one um, shirt with all these different openings for appendages and stuff. And it was just like everyone was just this one being. And the song's called What If?
Okay.
What if? What if says, what if one day it's confirmed that aliens exist and they were planning to destroy the world as we know it, alter our perception of perceived reality, expressing they're not here to fight. And they have come in peace. What if someday it's discovered that there is no line that separates, perpetuates the individual mind? Do you see us letting down the walls that we've built up because we misinterpreted the true meaning of love? What if someday we recognize that we are all the same, and that the source of everything is beyond any name? What if everything we've learned just meant nothing at all? Would the earth stop spinning round? Just let go and fall into the universe until it turns into a star. What if in infinity there's no such thing as far? What if someday we recognize that we are all the same, and that the source of everything is beyond any name? What if miracles were too close for our eyes to see, and this that's happening right now is just a possibility? What if you are dreaming or asleep when you're awake? What if God said thank you back? What would you say?
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
What a privilege to be sitting here hearing you sing. It's just amazing.
I
Thank
feel
you.
so privileged as well. And you're welcome.
So, what was
Mm,
this experience like for you, being a teenager in this band where you come out in front of in
mm,
stadiums with everyone screaming in
mm.
adoration?
It was really interesting, all that I had kind of stewing in my experience. At the time, my father was diagnosed with AIDS when I was 12 years old.
Mm.
And one of the main inspirations for joining this group was how excited he was when he found out that they wanted me to be a part of this experience.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, wow. Because back then, you probably had 4 years
yeah,
of life at that time. And I was like, what an opportunity to give him, to let
right.
him experience what it is I'm going to be doing with the rest of my life.
Mm,
And it was also really hard because I wanted to be with him every second
right.
as his body was, making its winding down to make its transition. Um, and so I had that excitement of, being thrown into this, Menudo already had this momentum. So one of my first concerts was like for 90,000 people, that's just this huge experience. And then missing family and missing my dad and
Right.
calling home every day. How is he doing?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was a lot of support and a lot of love, and uh, it was amazing. And then there was also this love affair. I had this love affair with humanity, and traveling all over the place really gave me the opportunity uh, to really confirm what I felt in my heart, that we all spoke the same language.
Wow.
We all laughed in the same language, cried in the same language, rejoiced in the same language.
Huh.
And so I really got to feel connected with everyone. And they used to call me the diplomat in the group because I was the one that would stay and sign every autograph and just, it would amaze me when fans would come up and have all this love and in some ways a lot of desperation, like, oh my God, like pandemonium. They called it Menudo mania. And that helped me kind of be like, who is it that they are
Mhm,
having
mhm.
this, for? Because a lot of our image was kind of um, directed. They told us how to dress and in a lot of ways what to say, and
Mhm.
uh, so it was really fascinating. Gave me a lot of ingredients to inquire and to see what was important to me, what was of value, and how it was that I wanted to live my life as an adult. Yeah.
Right. And what did the loss of your father, how did that impact you?
Oh wow. Well, one of the most powerful moments I remember when he was diagnosed, and I was around 12 years old, and I have three younger brothers and sisters. Um, he gathered us all together and said, "You have an opportunity here. Yes, I've been diagnosed with this disease, and yes, this body is going to get really sick, and yes, this body is going to maybe start looking really ugly, and yes, this body is probably going to die." And you can focus on that, or you can focus on my love for you getting stronger, my spirit getting brighter,
Wow.
my uh, joy of spending every last minute with you guys just
Oh,
being more and more
sweet.
obvious.
Right.
And that really hit me, to be
Wow.
like, wow, what an opportunity. And of course, there were many moments that I cried myself to sleep. He would get shots in his eyes, and I would just
Oh.
it was so hard to watch, and it would just like
Oh.
my whole face would just rip open and like, Dad, who I
Oh.
love so much.
Right.
And there was no the seeing what he communicated so
Mhm,
clearly.
mhm.
Yes, even through all that he's going through, the courage that was there, the
Mm.
love for us, the patience that was there, the kindness, the peace. I could really rely on that to be true. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a really strong message to me
Mm,
of love because
mm,
probably his love for you,
mm,
and your siblings, um, gave him
mm.
that
Beautiful.
power and that ability and that desire to I mean, that became the most important thing for him,
Yeah.
seems like.
Yeah. How beautifully put. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what a
Mhm.
courageous person though.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
so, you went on, you made it through this your teenage years, and then, I wanna continue with your spiritual journey. Yeah, I don't know if you wanna
Fun.
tell us about your helicopter land
Oh,
in,
sure. Sure,
Machu
sure,
Picchu.
sure. Yeah, and that also goes along with your last question, because after my father,
Mhm.
that was a couple weeks after my father had passed away. So again, I had
Oh,
all this
wow.
stewing.
Okay.
What is life? What is death? What is real? What's important? What's of
Right.
value? How can I live from my heart? How can I live with that courage that my father had? How could I be a beneficial presence on this planet? And and so in that, we were going to Machu Picchu to film a video for a song called Bienvenidos al Nuevo Mundo, which means, excuse me, welcome to the new world,
Mhm.
which is so much fun. That was the name of the song. And the helicopter had landed, and as soon as I stepped off the helicopter, uh, there was a moment. It was like how a lot of people describe that have had powerful spiritual experiences of nothing but love, nothing but peace, nothing
Mm.
but clarity. And the way I saw it was kind of like the world of descriptions, our training to perceive everything as a story became the background, and the pristine unknowability of life and its simplicity became the foreground. And in that openness, it was so beautiful to recognize that peace was unwavering,
Mm.
and the truest reality, love was unwavering, the truest reality. And then I was filming a music video. So I had the makeup artist pull my arm, and I'm getting all the makeup and getting prepared to do this music video, and then we start singing, and I could not tears were streaming down my face because
Wow.
no matter how loud I sung, it was obvious that sound, music was but the evidence of silence, not the opposite of silence. So my mind was being blown in having a whole new relationship with silence, being taught that it was the absence of sound. And so it was so cool to see that whatever sound was appearing was saying, silence is here. Silence is the open, unwavering ground of being. And
Wow.
all music is the celebration of silence. So, and the same with the movement. It was a Latin boy band. So we were
My
like,
gosh.
hey, we were shaking up a storm, getting our chest on. And even with all the movements, it was like, oh, wow, the movement is arising as evidence of stillness.
Yeah.
Even as the body moves, even as I'm moving through the helicopter, I saw myself on all the planes that we were on. No matter how fast I was going, I can be going speed of light, but still as open, spacious awareness.
So
Yeah,
everything emerging from the silence, everything.
everything, a celebration, an announcement of everything saying silence is here, just as every thought saying
Wow.
clarity is here, every experience saying freedom is here. Yeah.
How did you see other people at that point, from that standpoint?
I love that question because there was a lot of stuff going down in the group that could have supported a lot of, let's say, calloused living. That my heart could have really gotten hard, we could
Uh-huh.
say, with the different things going on in the business, in the group. Uh, and the gift of that allowed me to see everyone is innocent. Everyone is
Innocence.
innocent. Everyone uh, coming from from what they knew.
Ah.
So in other words, if they didn't know any better,
Uh-huh.
it's everyone just doing the best they can with the thoughts that they're emphasizing, with the stories that they're telling.
Did
Yeah.
you see us all as connected? Humanity is connected at that point in time as one?
Well, the innocence came through the filter of still living in a world with apparent others. But yes, part of the
Mhm.
relaxing of all the descriptions was noticing that there's no such thing as an independent something, as
Wow.
an independent nature. That was all an uninvestigated assumption, and that we were all completely one heart with itself, one heart seeing itself, one heart hugging itself, one heart saying hello to itself. Yeah.
So then I heard that you went back to Peru
I
after
did.
your contract
I did.
was
As soon
up.
as that contract was up, I was like, all right, I'm going to go explore this a little deeper.
I'm gonna get that back.
Okay. Yes, I know. Yeah, that was fun. It felt like it had gone, and I wanted
Mm.
to dive more into what it was. And I had stories that it had happened, and because I was in this group and with this contract, I didn't really get a chance uh, to honor it and like just devote myself to it completely. So I moved back to Peru and I moved to Cusco and I did the
Mhm.
Inca Trail. I was like, let me make it
Mhm.
a little bit more dramatic. And then
You did that on your own,
I
right?
did, yes.
That's that's something.
It was quite the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was many moments that I found myself on a little tiny bus with like 40 people in it with a bunch of chickens and little pigs and it was just and I was in bliss. I was so like, "Oh, this is so great." And of course I felt so excited to be free and uh, just enjoy this planet and especially that area of
Yeah.
this planet which I really fell in love with. And so I wanted to recreate this nothing experience. It's like I had this experience of total love, which I was calling no thingness. And now it's time to recreate that no thingness
Mhm.
by going to the same spot because, it was Machu Picchu, even though that could have happened at Arby's or at,
Right.
Whole Foods parking lot, or whatever. Uh, so I did the Inca Trail. I get to that spot and I approach it very slowly and kind of sensually, like, I'm gonna enjoy every ounce of this. And nothing happened. I stood there, nothing happened. And a part of me was like, oh shit,
Right.
nothing happened. And I could feel myself getting really like frustrated, like I came all this way and nothing's happening, and okay, what to do now? Maybe I should go to India. and then and then I just kept saying nothing's happened. Nothing, even though I kind of walked backwards, took a couple steps back, and like I'm gonna approach it again. Maybe this time. And I said nothing happened again. And when I said nothing happened, it hit me
Nothing.
like a gong, and my whole reverberated throughout my whole being. And I was like, nothing. I was like, oh, that's exactly what I wanted. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. Nothing. Uh, so that kind of supported a love affair with ordinary, everyday, I like to say plain as cracker, awareness. And it was a beautiful insight into seeing the tendencies to want to chase these dragon of spiritual experiences or of uh, non-conceptual states, and in that overlooking the total well-being and depth of aliveness that is this moment, just as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of your videos, you're talking about clarity, and you're talking about, well, we're
Mhm.
clear. We're clear even in the midst of confusion, essentially, because we have this, like,
Mm.
it's like the deep, still stream running
Yeah, isn't it
through us.
amazing how confidently we're able to communicate our confusion?
Amen to that. Yes, we are. Oh my gosh.
Such evidence of clarity.
We and we can communicate a lot of stories
hmm
and history and judgments and thinking we're right and all of
Yeah,
that.
what we overlook is that screen.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like at the movie theater, the screen that is willing for any movie to play on it. It's like play a comedy, play a romantic comedy, play an action, play a horror, play one of them artsy German movies. Play whatever you want to play. I'm still here and I receive it all. You know,
Right.
here before the movie, here after the movie. And what's so cool is that we have the capacity to notice totally here, even during the
Mm.
movie.
We're not actually in the movie, though. We're just watching it. I mean, we're,
Ah,
but we think we're in it.
it's amazing. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Thoughts are amazing.
Well, so so then you stayed there, and
Mhm.
you were doing the ceremony or the ayahuasca, I guess, at the ripe age of what, 20?
Yes, yes, this was like 1996.
You were way before the fashion trend now.
It's
My
so
gosh,
amazing.
way ahead of it. Yeah.
I loved how that came about because I was living in Iquitos, which is a small town on the
Hmm.
Amazon River, and I was gifted a monkey um, that was turned out to be addicted to Sprite. As it one morning, it woke up hysterical, ripping everything apart, and I'm like, "What's going on with my sweet little monkey? What's going on?" And then the people that gave him to me told me, "Oh, well, he really likes Sprite, so you got to give him Sprite."
Are you kidding?
And I was like, "Oh, wow." I was like, "Well, let me take him to the vet and see if maybe there's a way to kind of wean him off the Sprite." So I'm at a small kind of veterinarian's office with my monkey, or seeing the monkey, and I happened to meet a couple from Amsterdam there that had found an animal that they had taken to the same vet's office. And as we were sitting there, I think they were anthropologists doing some kind of research exploring this whole ayahuasca phenomenon. And the woman looked at me and she said, I sense a deep silence.
Oh,
And no one had ever acknowledged that so
wow.
clearly before in my experience. Or, I would hear peaceful or, loving or kind, which is great. But this woman, she looked me right in my eye and said, I sense a deep silence within you. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't move. It's so loud. It's so here. And they both went on to invite me to the ceremony. And it turned out to be this ayahuasca ceremony with a tribe in the Peruvian side. There's an Ecuadorian tribe and a Peruvian tribe. And this was the Peruvian one of the Shuar tribe. And I had no idea what to expect. From one moment to the next, I find myself walking in this dense jungle after taking all these different, side rivers off of the Amazon, and then walking for miles and, just there was a moment that fear really hit me like a truck. Like, what am I doing? Who are these people? Maybe they're completely insane and they're going to cut me up and feed me to the piranhas, and who knows what's going on here. I don't have my baby wipes. I don't have, what. As soon as they were telling me the possibilities of the purging that can take place through
Yeah,
every
right.
orifice, and
Yeah,
I was just like, "Oh Lord, have mercy! What am I doing in this
I know. It
jungle?
sounds dreadful, right?
Jesus, what is going on here?" And so as those thoughts were swirling, and I can hear thoughts of both of my grandmothers and their distinct voices telling me what to do or what I shouldn't be doing or how crazy am I to be doing this.
Oh, funny.
What really supported some peace and some confidence was just noticing that my feet were still moving in that
Mm.
direction,
Mm-hmm.
one step at a time, even with all the
Mm-hmm.
fear
Mm-hmm.
swirling in my awareness, swirling in my mind. The footsteps were just, and I was like, ah, something tells me I can completely trust this.
Nice.
I can trust the intelligence of this momentum right now, and that was beautiful to recognize. And yeah, it was the first time I was in a ceremony like that, and the first time I was asked to set an intention, to consciously set an intention for an experience, and that was really cool. And when it was my turn to set the
Oh,
intention,
oh. Are you going to tell us what your
yeah, I
intention?
will tell you what
Okay.
it was. I will tell you. When it was my turn, what came through, and it was fun because it wasn't something that I uh, had thought of. It just came through, and it felt so right. My intention was to lose everything to see what cannot be lost.
Whoa.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, lose everything to see what cannot be lost. And I could feel how that was a theme throughout my Menudo days, because
Mm.
Menudo gave me the opportunity to have everything that
Mm-hmm.
we're supposed to have to be
Mm-hmm.
fulfilled, and noticing no fulfillment there and seeing it in my peers.
Mm.
The dissatisfaction with life, the anger, the frustration, the anxiety, the way that a lot of the superstar adults around me would treat people. And I was like,
Mm.
I do not. They had everything.
Right.
Everything that we're taught
Mm-hmm.
is going to make us happy. And so yeah, that was a theme. And I said, I'm willing to do that.
So what happened?
Oh my goodness. What happened? What happened? So much happened that night. It was so amazing. It felt like a couple lifetimes in one ayahuasca sitting. Uh, one of the fun moments was just there was a moment where I saw this tree and it was calling my name. And well, before the tree, I just want to share. There was a moment I apologized on behalf of all of humanity to the insects around me. I was humming along with the insects in the Amazon. There's a lot of insects there,
Yeah.
and humming and singing with them and harmonizing with them. And there was a moment it felt like they all stopped and like we're just here, and they knew that my heart wanted to tell them something. And I was like, on behalf of all of humanity, I apologize that we can't see how fucking beautiful you
Mm.
are, that we can't see how amazing you are, that we
Oh,
have to
sweet.
put wings on a person and say that's magical, and completely overlook how beautiful you are and how magical you are, and
Aw.
and the pollen that you share with the forest is fairy dust. I mean, I'm just like totally in love with all of these winged beings, and seeing their beauty. And
Wow.
then this tree starts calling my name, or starts calling to me. This beautiful tree, and I start walking over to the tree, and I'm asking it. It's like this telepathic communication.
Mm.
Because it was such an intimate love. I was like, "Are you my mother?" And then she was
Mm.
like, "No," closer as I'm walking closer. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
"Are
gosh.
you my father?" And it was like, "No," closer. And I was like, "Are you my guide, my spirit guide?" "No," closer. "Are you?" And as soon as I wrapped my arms around it, it was like There is nothing but indivisibility here. All is yourself. All has ever been yourself. All only ever will be yourself.
Wow.
Totally one love here. And then in that, I felt my feet kind of dig into the earth and just kind of intertwine with the roots. And I felt really grounded. I could feel the warmth of the center of the core, the molten rock of the planet.
Mm.
And then I had long hair at the time, 22 inches, that I felt like just kind of went whipped up and swirled up into the canopy and just kind of stretched out over the canopy. And I was just like, trees are total Buddhas. They are completely grounded in this experience and open to infinity. And then it was just clear to relax that, and I released myself from the tree. And then I had this overwhelming sense to look at my hands, and I started watching them age, and I started watching the spots appear and the skin just doing what it does, and then I started watching the skin start to fall off the bone and the decaying starting to take place, and then I saw the bones, and then I saw the bones just start to brittle and turn to ashes, and then new hands appeared, a different shape of hands, a different
Wow.
race of hands, a different color of hands, and new hands and new hands and new hands and new hands with the same thing. And I looked around the forest and saw everything just kind of just sink down to decay, and then everything just kind of rise and sprout
Oh
up
my
again, the whole
goodness.
forest. And then there was a moment of feeling the earth taking an inhalation. So everything that was being born on the planet was the inhalation. Everything that was dying on the planet was the exhalation. Everything being born, inhalation. And then I felt like the time was just, and then I had the thought, this is some good shit. I need to share this with my friends. I need to bottle this or package this. Everyone needs to experience this. How can I recreate this? Is this going to go away? I started feeling some fear grip. And it's like, when this is over with, am I going to have this amazing poetic connection with all of existence again? And then I felt this inquiry asking me, this kind of like presence saying, yeah, 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 this is cool. The grid of light, all is connected, the breathing, the hands, the impermanence of all of existence. Yeah, 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 that's cool. But what about this moment doesn't come or go? What about this moment has been the same when you were 2, when you were 7, when you were singing, when you were scratching your butt, when you were having this thought, having that thought, having this experience, that experience? What about this is the same? And in that, it felt like there was an anchoring of, oh, I am not someone having an experience of oneness. That is a thought appearing in this unwavering presence that is my true heart and the true heart of everything in existence. And
Wow.
that was really fun. That is really fun.
Well, yeah, right. And then did you continue to do more ayahuasca for an extended period of
I
time?
didn't. It was so cool. I was supposed
Oh,
to do
really?
ayahuasca for 10 days.
Oh,
But in that, I locked eyes with the shaman, and we laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and jumped around and jumped around. And I held his face, and we held each other's faces, and I kissed we were kissing each other's cheeks and feeling each other's hands, and just laughter, laughter, laughter. And he suggested that I didn't, have to take it again for that period, and if I
right.
wanted to just be a presence of love for everyone going through their journey. And so I just got
So he knew how powerful of an experience you had at that moment, I
there
guess.
was a recognition there, yeah, of a lot of laughter together, yeah.
Because the things that you talk about now, I do feel like you have to have had a profound experience or
Mm.
something. It's not really an intellectual, you can't get it intellectually.
Mm,
I
mm,
mean, you have to have some sort of an experience to just turn you in a whole different direction.
mm.
I mean, do you think?
Well, I noticed that there was a real love affair for being available,
Uh-huh.
being available as a friend, being available as a brother, being available as an artist, being available as a human being available as a man, being available as a gay man,
Mm.
being available, being really, being here.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
and so in that, it's like I love how Papaji, who's this Indian, he was an Indian teacher who received his confirmation. I like to call it confirmation from Ramana Maharshi, an Indian sage. Uh, One time he put kind of like the wake up moment, um, as if seeing a ceiling fan in its momentum, its spin, like that's the mind, the identified mind,
Mhm.
the world of of
Mhm.
of of believing every thought to be true and every belief, uh, and so the awakening moment is like pulling the cord, pulling the plug. So it's like, oh, there's more room here. There's more space
Yeah.
here.
Right.
There's an actual love here, peace here. There's spaciousness here. There's stability here. And for most, there's this momentum of mind that keeps going. Just because you pull the plug doesn't mean it instantly stops.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
kind of unwinds itself
Mhm.
and slowly. So that was beautiful to experience that over the next couple of years in relationship, in family, in life, in meetings, and with a music band of brothers, that just, we
Mhm.
all gave each other such support to be transparent and authentic. And
Mhm.
um, also, I've had some beautiful people appearing as teachers. Gangaji was one I really resonated with when I was looking for confirmation. Uh, and then Byron Katie with her invitation to question every concept
Mm.
that
Mhm.
appears,
Mhm.
which for me is just inviting it into the bright, white, hot light of love. And Candace O'Denver is another wonderful, clear confirmation of the stability of this moment. So, and everything else, gosh, it's so much fun how everything reveals itself to be of service, to be in support. And for me, it was always one heart speaking to itself. So every teacher was my own heart speaking to itself, inviting itself to look in this way or in that way, or uh, and so it's so beautiful that that's just this never ending dance of love. Yeah.
Well, do you do things on a daily basis that I mean, do you feel yourself just naturally having this view or way of being in the world, or do you sort of go
Hmm.
in and out,
Well, I've noticed over
back
the
under the
years.
collective trance
I
and out
love that.
again?
I love that. I've noticed over the years, in this love affair, in this willingness to relax the ideas that come up, the projections that come up, um, that this love, this seeing, this naked willingness is totally stable and
Uh,
totally here, even as life happens.
mhm.
So thoughts will definitely happen, feelings will happen, and now, as opposed to being something to get over or something to fix or to alter, they appear as evidence of this unwavering aliveness that's here, this unwavering openness. Each of them saying, freedom is here, clarity is here, life is here, infinity in love with its infinite options to celebrate itself is here.
Do you think that people have to go through some sort of difficult path to get to this place? Or
It seems that way from one perspective,
mhm,
and then also it doesn't. It's so fascinating
yeah.
uh, how individual we are in our
Right,
journeys.
right.
Yeah, we're all such artists. Infinity is an amazing
Yes,
artist, and
that's
our
a really lovely way to look at it.
our lives are these fountains,
Mhm.
of art. everything's art, from our traumas and our suffering and our. It's like there's this art gallery here, and life is ruthless. It's a ruthless artist. It's not bound to one style or to one theme. It was willing to
That's so
explore
cool.
it all, and
Absolutely.
it's quite delicious. Yeah,
And we have more choice, though, than we have thought.
it's incredible. All the space that is here.
Yeah.
So many options. Yeah.
So I'm going to jump ahead to,
Mm-hmm.
well, after there, you created a band called that's now, or that was called Here to Hear. I guess it was started out being called Inner Voice, and then
Yes,
Here to
originally
Hear.
Inner Voice with
And
Alex, Jamie, Taz, and Edwin.
oh
Hello,
my
brothers. I love ya.
gosh, that sounds like it was so much fun
It was
because
amazing. Yeah. So much fun.
and you played for this incredible array of people,
Yeah.
including the Dalai Lama, Gangaji, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra. I can never remember how to pronounce his
I
name.
know.
Michael Beckwith, Ravi Shankar, Byron Katie, and countless others.
So it was really such a gift to be in the presence of all our heroes, all these people that are inviting, the world
Right.
to celebrate sanity again.
How do you view music in a situation like that as a musician, and
Hmm.
what you're doing and what your role is? I mean, I know what it feels like, obviously, to be in that
Yay.
presence, but
Mm.
as being the artist yourself, what's going through your heart and mind?
Yeah, music. It's so much fun. Music and listening have always been this theme for me that have always been such a gift. And so I kind of feel that the world of form phenomena, all the amazingness that we get to experience is the music. And this openness is the silence, the silent listening, aware presence. And so uh and just more everyday living life and everyday kind of experience with singing and with instruments and with musicians and inspiration. Music is so powerful in its capacity to transcend all of our beliefs, all of our ideas. It really
Mhm,
gets,
mhm.
when it comes from the heart, that's the only place it can land.
Mm,
And so I did recognize the power of music
mhm.
at a young age. And um and that was part of the big inspiration. These songs started coming through when I was living in Peru, and even before that. Um, Songs like there's a song called Plankton that came through uh, when I was walking around, the Andes. That the lyrics are, planets are just plankton floating in a sea of omnipresent mystery. Those who claim to know it rarely ever show it. They are just as lost as you and me. Doctors, lawyers, politicians, and professors. Modern science, the oppressed and the oppressors, religious leaders, the gurus and the shamans, oh, everybody has one thing in common. We are nothing, oh no, pretending to be something. Yeah. We are nothing, pretending to be something. So these songs were coming through, and it was so great to feel like the
Wow.
love of these songs
Yeah.
and the space from which they came forth,
Mm.
being such a sweet magnet for all the right players to
Mhm.
come along and be a part of this adventure of being a soundtrack for this age
Mm.
of awakening that's taking place on the planet.
Oh, what a beautiful way to look at that. Wow.
Mm.
Very nice. Well, one of the things I guess I don't know when exactly whether you were with Here to Hear when you wrote the
Mhm.
song for the Hollywood people, the Global Alliance for Transformational
Oh, that was right
Entertainment.
after Here to Hear. We took our open-ended sabbatical, I like to call it.
Oh,
'Cause who knows? We might get back together.
sure, of course.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with that? And that sounds like it must have been wonderful with Jim Carrey and James Cameron, and I forget who else is involved with that. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's Jim Carrey, Eckhart Tolle, and John Rotz
Oh, okay.
that put this organization together, the Global Alliance of Transformational Entertainment. Yeah, it's so we had some friends that introduced us to John Rotz, and and then right around that time, the group finished. So he wanted the group
Oh,
to be a part of the experience, but the group finished. We remained friends, and um, he mentioned the theme of that particular year for Gate, because every year they do this event where they invite all these speakers. The year I was a part of it, which was 2 years ago, speakers like Marianne Williamson and Gene Houston and Eckhart Tolle, Jim Carrey was there, and many wonderful artists and performers and music and people that are really excited about um, inviting Hollywood to recognize that there's a huge market of people that are looking for content that speaks to their lives.
mhm,
So the book industry is this billion-dollar industry,
mhm,
and it's
mhm.
like, hello, this is also available for these movies and
Right.
for the topics that are talked about. It doesn't have to go to the same old, same old, same old, same old. There's all this possibility here. So I was really excited about it, and I heard the theme, and the song came through, and I showed it to them. They loved it, and I went and performed it for the event, and it became the theme song for that year for Gate. Yeah,
Well, I love that song, Only a New Seed. So,
yeah.
do you mind singing that?
So let's see. That song said. We change our clothes, we change our threads for feel-good fabrics and lightened threads. Discard last season's fruitful gadgets for damn, that's tight, I've got to have it. Replace Mount Olympus with Hollywood. We now worship gods that worship goods and then pretend that things don't change yet. Haven't taken a look inside our own brains where there is a wellspring of solutions for all of the current world pollutions. We may find the answers in the space between the notes of the human race. And just like Einstein knew, we'll see, living from the past is insanity. Now, blessedly, this all could stop. Only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed. I choose. I was, I will be. A beneficial presence for the human family. I choose, I was, I will be a beneficial presence for the human family. I used to think that honoring the leaders of the past meant following, but now I know it's up to me, and the only way to follow is to lead, for they had the courage to flow against the momentum of history's ignorance. And I love when that happens. Like, what in the world are these lyrics? But they had the courage to flow against the momentum of history's ignorance. And, well, the song is in your heart. So
We
you
can
can listen
download
to it
it.
and download it and
We'll play it at the end of our interview. I love that song
Yay,
though,
awesome.
and by the way,
Mhm.
when I was looking at one of your videos, and I could see that
Mm,
stillness, and I was thinking it's like they're seeing it, not exactly right. Just describe it as seeing two people, but I could
mm.
see this stillness, and I was like, wow, there's that deep stillness there, that deep person, and then you have about many different personalities. Or, I mean, you're such a
Just call me
performer and
Sybil.
such an artist, and you're so playful, and then you're a singer. And so it's like, I was thinking, how do you decide which personality
Oh,
to
that's so much fun. Oh,
close
could you
upon
imagine having to
this?
make a decision? Wow, that's like hours and hours of like a phone conference with myself.
I know, it's like
That's
it's
so
like
much
which
fun.
outfit to wear,
That's
which
so much
personality to put
fun.
on.
I love that you mentioned this because that's one thing that is so much fun. A lot of times, especially now, the climate of spiritual teachers,
Mhm.
it's kind of like I've gone to a lot of these conferences, a lot of non-duality conferences.
Mhm.
I've met a lot of wonderful teachers, and there's this kind of wonderful tone of, it's like their natural personalities are just very relaxed, or um, let's say their natural personalities is to not have a personality.
Oh.
And it's genuine. It's not like they're trying to be,
Right.
it's genuine. But in our cultures, that's what's seen as spiritual. So it's so much fun that as we really
Uh-huh.
begin to relax in our genuine, authentic selves, we begin to discover that the color, the
Mhm.
celebration, the joy, the laughter, the multitude of ways of communicating that can come through one isn't in opposition to the silence that's
That's
deep,
right.
to the
No,
peace that's
yeah.
deep, to the love that's deep. But it's each of us are complete authentic fountains
Yeah.
of celebration. And
Mhm.
so it's so much fun to see that tide turning, where more of us are recognizing that it's okay to be our authentic selves. We don't have to be like Eckhart Tolle to be spiritual. We don't have to be like Rupert Spira to be enlightened. We don't have
Right.
to be like, it's like in our own way. And that's where the juice is. Because there's so many people on this planet, so many kind of soul pods, so many kind of soul groups. And so you and your willingness to allow the fire of clarity to live itself in the authenticity that is you
Ugh.
just lights the fire of those that are in your soul pod, which is so sweet.
That's so beautifully
Mhm.
said. So
Thank
beautifully
you.
said. And I was getting that when I was I guess this must have been something you said, that as we become more, I guess, aligned with our own, you know, remembering who we are, is the way I say it,
Mm.
that more of our own identity, it's like we're little pieces of artwork. We lose, we stop being self conscious.
Joy.
And fearful, and
Mm.
just let it rip, I guess.
How much fun. Yeah.
I know. I think it's so much more fun,
Mm.
really, not to walk along in conformity and fear, but just to allow
Mm.
and see what the expressions are that come up. Um, One of the things about, I think, being on this journey too is it's unpredictable.
Mm.
All of a sudden you're
How
like,
exciting.
wow, I don't know what's going to
Thrilling.
happen. And so
Yeah.
there's kind of a little bit of I mean, it's good though, but it can be a bit scary. It's like you don't, and because I've talked to a couple of people in the last couple of days,
Mhm.
sort of like you don't know what's happening that evening,
Mm.
or who's going
Yeah.
to come into your life in the next 5 minutes. I mean, I
Mhm.
start to be a little bit more expectant, like,
Mm.
oh wow, here's this person showing up. I wonder what this is all about.
I know it's like this
Um,
continuous gift-giving extravaganza. Secret Santa forever.
right.
And what's so wonderful is that, the fear arises, in the way we're trained to see life, the way we're trained to see what safety means and what stability means. We're trained to seek
Yeah.
stability in a mind that looks a certain way.
Hmm.
We're trained to seek stability in an energy vibration that feels a certain way.
Right.
We're trained to seek stability in emotions that move a certain way and forever changing, forever moving, forever serving as a glorious, alive kaleidoscope of
Hmm.
life being life. So stability is in the clarity of one's awareness,
Right.
in the natural basic state of our being. And uh, what's so much fun with that is gosh,
Everything's happening faster, and it's like a butterfly that keeps on emerging, or for a caterpillar that continues to emerge from the cocoon, and there's no really going back. It's like, and you don't want to go back because like it's coming up, it's coming bigger, and everything's going
Yeah.
faster, and
Yeah, even the idea of going back is moving forward because it's something completely new, a whole new interpretation of what we call the
oh right,
past. And what's so much fun is if everyone was honest, no one knows what's going to happen the next second.
right,
Everyone on the planet, no matter what your status is, no matter what's in your bank account,
hmm
everything can rise and fall in an instant. And that's it's such a good invitation
yeah,
and such a good opportunity to get familiar with this stable love that's here.
right, right.
Yeah.
I think giving ourselves permission to do that is part of it too. Just allowing ourselves to be loving and trust.
Ah, how beautiful. Yeah, and then I know in my experience, it's just so exciting, all the possibilities, and you get to discover how big and willing the heart is. You know, how big and willing is infinity? How big and willing is the aliveness of this moment right now
Mhm.
for anything and everything to happen? You know, we can look at and describe what's happening right now with the immediacy of this room, and then expand that with this building, and expand that with this city, and then expand that with this planet, and then expand that with the solar system and our local group of galaxies, and on and on and on and on and on and on and on. All of life here in the heart,
I
being
can kinda
itself.
see that inside of you when you talk like that. I'm thinking, "Okay, there it is, there it all is." So, I'm gonna ask you, just one more question about the thing about you talk a lot about our mind and
I
creating
am
a
I do, I do. I
creating a
love it. I have
lot
such a love affair with that.
creating a
It's
lot
like
of our
talking about my
chaos.
boyfriend.
A lot of our problems or a lot of our suffering boils down to how we're thinking.
Amazing.
I
Or
mean,
another way of wording it is a lot of our suffering boils down to the relationship that we've been taught to have with our minds, the relationship we've been taught to have with our thinking. So there's an underlying thought that thinking is inherently bad, that there's ways of thinking that are good and
mhm.
ways of thinking that are not good. So it's kind of like, uh, it's so much fun when we discover to look at our internal landscape, the way we look at nature, the way we look at a desert or a forest or a jungle, where all the so called alive positive things and all the so called negative decaying things harmoniously work together in such a way for flowers to bloom and for birds to sing. And it's so possible for us to get familiar with the harmless nature of our thoughts. Every thought, every feeling, every sensation, beautiful expositions of a wild and free universe.
So then really it is to not be so attached to them and not believe them as true. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Well, it's noticing that, like right now, think of all the thoughts you've ever had.
Oh gosh.
All the feelings you've ever had.
Mhm,
All
mhm.
the, you know, we tend to perceive thoughts as being something that stays and lingers and lasts for a long
Uh-huh.
time.
Right, right.
But if we
Mhm.
take a moment, it's like, where are they? One thing that's
Right.
so much fun with the whole kind of spiritual uh, invitation and excitement or willingness to sit in meditation and get familiar with what's happening is that we begin to discover, as we discover the stability of the natural state, the stability of aware, open, intelligent presence, we also begin to discover the self
Mm,
releasing nature of all phenomena. So a
mm.
thought appears and instantly self releases in its inception, and it instantly self releases now. All the thoughts that we've had in the last 5 minutes, all the feeling, it's so much fun. And in that, aware presence, still totally stable, still totally here. And we get familiar with that by allowing whatever's appearing to be as it is, which is another way of saying just aligning with what's naturally here. Because again, we take a moment, those watching at home, those listening at home, look around. It's like so obvious. Everything is itself, from our amazing cameraman to the floor, to the camera, the technology, the way you just naturally did this, the way you licked your lips. Everything is so naturally itself, including our thoughts, including our feelings, including our sensations.
It makes sense when I hear it from you.
Hey.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
just to finish, I would love to hear you sing Amazing Grace, if you don't
Oh,
mind. You were mentioning that was a song you were singing when you were 6, I believe
I
is
would
when you
love
were
to sing
there.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Me playing with my G.I. Joes in the
yeah.
backyard.
All
Yay.
right, I really
Amazing
appreciate I
Grace.
love this song. My father loved
Mm.
it.
Mm.
Everybody loves it, of course, but I think because I also would hear my father singing it around the
Oh,
house.
how beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm really grateful that you're willing to sing it for us.
Thank you. Yeah, honored to sing it and to celebrate your father.
Yes,
Honored to
thank
sing it in
you.
memory of my grandmother,
Mm.
Margarita Agüero. I used to sing it with a Cuban accent. Amazing Grace has so we the town. It was so much fun. But yeah, I love this song. Mm. Amazing, amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved, yes, that saved a wretch like me. Hey, I once was, I was lost, but now, right now, I'm found. I was blind, but now, right now, right now. When I say right now, I really, 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 really only mean right now. I see. I see.
What a gift. You are such a gift. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
very
Ash.
much.
Thanks so much for being here tonight. Appreciate it.
So honored, so honored. And thank you for tuning in. I love it. I am, I was, I will be. Open up, it's your presence for the human family. I am, I was, I will be.
good fabrics and light and threads. Discard last season's fruitful gadgets, but damn, that's tight, I've got to have it. Replace Mount Olympus with Hollywood. When I worship us, I worship this, and then complain that things don't change. It haven't taken a look inside our own brains, where there is a wellspring of solutions for all of the current world pollutions. We may find the answers in space, between the notes of the human race. And just like Einstein knew, we'll see, living from the past is insanity. Now blessedly it all could, only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed, yeah. I am, I choose, I was, I will be a beneficial presence for the human family. I am, I choose, I was, I will be a beneficial presence for the human family. I used to think that honoring the leaders of the past meant following, but now I know it's up to me, and the only way to follow is to lead. But they had the courage to flow against the momentum of history's ignorance, and some even gave up their lives to see a brighter tomorrow for you and me. The closed mind is the world of illusion, the open mind always births evolution. So as for this step, only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed will yield a new crop. Only a new seed. Oh, I am, I choose, I was, I will be a beneficial presence for the human family. I am, I choose, I was, I will be a beneficial presence for the human family. Tomorrow, because right now you are the tree, rooted in the earth of our mother, arms open as infinity. You are the seed of tomorrow, because right now you are the tree, rooted in the earth of our mother, arms open as infinity. You are the seed of tomorrow, because right now you are the tree, rooted in the earth of our mother, arms open as infinity.